Welcome back to another struggle episode of the MO Show. This is where we cover the Bible. Um, so today we're going to talk about Leviticus chapters 6 and 7. As you guys know, I'm trying to crank out 2 chapters each week. Sorry about not, keep giving you guys apologies, but trust me, I am a busy man and I'm an expecting father. So I got a lot of stuff going on. So that's not really an excuse. It's more so just giving you a sneak peek into what's going on in my life. Yes, my wife and I, if you guys are new to this show, the missus and I, we are expecting our first child, a baby boy. So I've just been, if I'm not painting a room or cleaning out something or yada, 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 it's all in preparation. And then, my wife, she's very far along in her pregnancy. So our little bundle of joy decided he finally wanted to strike his mother's nerve. So I've been taking care of my wife all week. She's now feeling better. We're getting ready to have her, her photos and all that other stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a fun time. It's a busy time, just with work, family, and also trying to set aside, time for you guys. So it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. But you know what? You guys are here for Friday struggle, where you guys get all things biblical. So as you guys know, I don't care what type of Bible you guys use. Is as long as you can read it and as long as you enjoy reading it. I don't care if it's the King James version, the ESV, NIV, all the other stuff. One of my favorite ones that I just read is the Hallelujah Scriptures. I love this version. It's very Hebrew heavy. But my study version, which we're going to be which I pretty much based the show around, is the TLV, the Tree of Life version, the Messianic Family Jewish Bible. No, it's not Jewish in nature. It just talks to the sorry. It just talks to the Jewish history of the Bible, especially the Old Testament. So, if you guys would like to pick those up, trust me. First of all, if you guys want me to put these books that I whether it's the TLV version, whether trust me, I got books all over the place. I got the interlinear Greek somewhere around here, Greek and Hebrew and English version. I also have the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Apocrypha. Trust me, I'm all decked out in books. So if you guys want to help me help you, please make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit that bell. Give us a thumbs up, because what that's going to do is that's going to help us out in the algorithms. And then as we go on and try to hit up Amazon and these other places where I can be an affiliate, so I can put these books in there for you, so that way you guys don't have to go searching for them. Yeah, so just help me, help you, help me, help you. Yes, there we go. Anyway, so matter of fact, let me put this up first. So as we got here, so we're going to be covering let me just I'm all over the place. So as you guys see, I'm using the Messianic Jewish Family Tree of Life version, TLV. Let's go ahead. I don't understand why you guys can't see that, but up here it says Parashat Zeva or Zav, I think. So just to give you guys more of a summary, because some people, they like that stuff. So this is from my Jewish learning. I use them as a resource all the time to help me learn. Go ahead, and you guys don't care about a $1.2 million townhouse. Let's get rid of that ad. So what Parashat Zav? I think I'm pronouncing it right. Jeez, Google is persistent. So what that means is he commands, or command. So God tells Moses to describe the rituals for some of the offerings to the priests. The priests then undergo the process of ordination. And this is a nice. So God spoke to Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons to follow these rituals. And we're going to go into that. This is just a summary. It kind of goes over it. Maybe, we may dibble and dabble back into this later on. So let's go ahead, get into this. Let me go ahead and get rid of the beautiful logo so that way you guys can follow along. And of course, some people like, well, just leave it up on the screen and let people read it for themselves. Well, I appreciate the sentiment, but we also record a podcast version. So for those of you on the go, if you guys want to listen to the podcast version, of course, I have podcast listeners. And sometimes I know people watch YouTube or listen to YouTube on the go. So they're, people's attentions. Hey, do what you can handle. That's I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but do what you can handle. But pretty much, that's why I read, And some people say, well, work on your reading skills. Well, trust me, I try. And I got dyslexia, so I may mess some words up. I may, yeah. So anyway, and I read chapter 6. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the Torah, meaning instruction. So, for those of you that don't know, if you're new to this, Torah means instruction. So, the first 5 books of the Bible, that's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, those 5 books, that is the Torah itself. That is the book of instructions. So, then you also got book of writings, book of prophets, and all this other stuff. So this is the Torah, the instruction of burnt offering. The burnt offering should remain on the hearth atop of the altar all night until morning, while the fire of the altar is kept burning on it. Then, the Cohen is to put on his linen garments with his linen undergarments on his body. He is to remove the fat ashes from where the fire has consumed the burnt offering on the altar and put them beside the altar. Then he is to take off his garments, put on other ones, and carry the ashes outside the camp to a clean place. The fire on the altar is to be kept burning on it. It must not go out. Each morning, the Cohen is to burn wood on it, lay the burnt offering in order upon it, and burning up as smoke the fat of and burning up as smoke the fat of the fellowship offering. Fire is to be kept burning on the altar continually. It must not go out. So this right here is talking about the diligence. The Cohen, the priest, must be diligent in making sure that this fire is constantly stoked. It must not go out. It has to stay burning. That's just how God put it. So then now this is the Torah for the grain offering. I think, yeah, make sure I got these right. Yep. Yep, this is the Torah, the instruction for the grain offering. As Aaron's sons are to offer it to Adonai in front of the altar, so is he to lift up from it his handful of the fine flour of grain offering, with some of its oil and all the frankincense which is on the grain offering, and burn it up as smoke on the altar for a soothing aroma as this memorial portion to Adonai. Adonai is, for those of you that are new, Adonai means Lord, or it's another title for God, or Yod He Vav He, or Yahovah. That's his name. It's not God. God is another title. Then what is left from it, Aaron and his sons are to eat. It is to be eaten as matzah in a holy place in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. It must not be baked with chametz. Or I think, yeah, I think chametz is like 11. I keep forgetting that. It's been it's a while between stretches. So I have given it as their portion of my offering made by fire. It is most holy. Like the sin offering and like the trespass offering, every male among the children of Aaron must eat it as their portion forever throughout your generations and from throughout your generations from the offering of Adonai made by fire. Whoever touches them will become holy. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "This is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they are to offer to Adonai on the day when he is anointed. The tenth part of an ephah of fine flour for a continual grain offering, half of it in the morning, half of it in the evening. It is to be made with flour on a pan. When it is soaked, you should bring it in. You are to present the grain offering in baked pieces as a soothing aroma to Adonai. The anointed Cohen who uh crap, it cut it off again. I don't understand why it does that. Let me go ahead and get that final part for you. So that's what, 13. I don't understand why it cuts it off. Blah, 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 evening. The anointed Cohen will be in place, a soothing aroma to Adonai. The anointed Cohen who will be in the place from among his sons is to offer it as an eternal statute. It must be entirely burnt up smoke, as smoke to Adonai. Thus, every grain offering to of the Cohen is to be a whole offering, and it should not be eaten. I don't understand why it chops it off like that. My apologies, people. Technology. Maybe it's the interface. I don't know. So Adonai spoke to Aaron, saying, spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the Torah of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is slaughtered, the sin offering is to be slaughtered before Adonai. It must be holy. The the Cohen who offers it for sin should eat it." So I want to stop right here. So it says right here, the Cohen who offers it for sin should eat it. Now, I'm just going to take a stab at this. Me personally, I believe that this is foreshadowing the Messiah, Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. You know, however, however you want to say, whether it's Jesus or Yeshua or Yehoshua, I believe that this is talking about Yeshua because remember, Yeshua was the Cohen who offers it for sin should eat it. I believe that Yeshua was the one who took on our sins and he was the one to pay the sin debt for us. So that's what I believe that this line is talking about. The Cohen who offers it for sin should eat it. It must be eaten in a holy place in the court of the tent of meeting. Now remember, Yeshua was also judged in the former temple of Jerusalem. I believe I believe that's where Pontius Pilate made his residence. Whatever touches his flesh will be holy. And remember, there was a woman that touched Jesus, and remember, Jesus would touch people and they would become healed. Or remember, holy also means set apart. Whatever touches his flesh will be holy. When any of its blood is splattered on a garment, you are to wash it in a holy place. But the earthen vessel in which it is boiled is to be broken. And if it is boiled in a bronze vessel, it is to be scored, then rinsed in water. Every male among the Kohanim is to eat of it. It is most holy. But no sin offering from which any of the blood is brought into the tent of meeting to make atonement in the holy place, it is to be eaten. It must be burned up by fire. Now we're going on to chapter 7. This is the Torah. This is the instruction of the trespass offering. It is most holy. In the place where they slaughter the burnt offering, he is to slaughter the trespass offering, and he is to splash his blood around the altar. He shall offer all of its fat, its tail, the fat tail, the fat of the covering innards, along with the two kidneys. Wait, let me make sure. Let me make sure, because this thing has been glitching out on me. Sorry. The reason why, because I felt like I've read this passage before. It shall offer all of its fat tail, and the fat that covers the innards, along with the two kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the loin, plus the cover on the liver, and he is to remove with the kidneys. Yeah, it is, and that he is to remove with the kidneys. Then the Cohen shall burn it up as a smoke on the altar for an offering made by fire to Adonai. It is a trespass offering. Every male among the Kohanim may eat it. It is to be eaten in a holy place. It is most holy. The fellowship offering for Kohanim, man. Like I said, that's priest. As is the sin offering, so is the trespass offering. There is one Torah for them, one instruction. They are for the Cohen who makes atonement with them. The Cohen who offer anyone's burnt offering, that Cohen is to have for himself the hide of the burnt offering, which he has offered. Every male offering that is baked in the oven, and all that is prepared on the flat plate and on the pan, is to belong to the Cohen who offers it. Every grain offering, whether mixed with oil or dry, belongs to all the sons of Aaron equally. Now, this is the Torah, the instruction of the sacrifice of fellowship offering, which may be offered to Adonai. If he brings it for a thanksgiving, then he is to present with the sacrifice of thanksgiving matzah cakes mixed with oil, matzah wafers anointed with oil, fine flour cakes mixed with oil. He is to present his offering with the sacrifice of his fellowship offering for thanksgiving, along with the cakes of bread with chametz. From each, he is to offer one out of every offering as a gift to Adonai. It will belong to the Cohen who sprinkles the blood of the fellowship offering. The meat of the sacrifice of his fellowship offering for thanksgiving is to be eaten on the day of his offering. He is not to leave, excuse me. Sorry about that. Our security mutts decided that they wanted to clock in today. If you guys can't hear him in the background. So it is to belong to the Cohen who sprinkles the blood, yada yada yada. Sorry. The meat of the sacrifice of his fellowship offering for Thanksgiving is to be eaten on the day he offers it. He is not to leave any until morning. But if the sacrifice of his offering is a vow or a free will offering, it is to be eaten on the day that he offers his sacrifice. On the next day, what remains of it may be eaten. But what remains of the meat of the sacrifice on the third day is to be burnt up with fire. If any of the meat of the sacrifice of his fellowship offering is eaten on the third day, it will not be accepted, nor will it be credited to him who offers it. It will be a foul thing. God even talks about credit. That's interesting. It will be a foul thing. And the soul who eats any from it will bear his own iniquity. So I believe, remember, I'm not a theologian. I never went to seminary school. I'm just a regular guy that's reading this and trying to piece everything together to make sense of it. What I believe that this passage right here is trying to teach is talking about I want to say like hoarding. Like, so you already have this sacrifice offering. You could eat it on the first day, you could eat it on the second day, but however, the third day, I believe that kind of goes into what was happening in the Exodus when God on the Sabbath day, God would bring, God would offer quail, these what do you call it? I forgot what the special type of grain that God gave to the people. Sometimes people would try to hoard them because they feared like they weren't going to get any more, and it would turn rancid. So I believe that this is what God is talking about here. Like, God is always going to provide for you. So sometimes hoarding something in hopes of, or in fear of you're not going to get enough, may be what God is trying to curb here. Unfortunately, what we see later on in the Bible, that some priests were very, how should I say this? They were very selfish and they were very conniving, and that they would try to corrupt people to get the best or to get certain offerings, and they wouldn't burn it up to God. They would keep it for themselves. And sounds a lot like our politicians today. You got some politicians, Dan Crenshaw mentioned it back during the Kung flu, that instead of talking about policies and things to help combat it, you had politicians deliberating about pay raises for themselves. So while we're all locked in and locked down, they're in their meeting talking about how to get more money for themselves. If you're a servant of the people, which this is me personally, I compare our politicians to the Cohen. You're living off of the offerings of the people. Now, I'm not saying that politicians are doing any godly duties, but I'm saying you're a public servant. You live off of what the people provide. And in all honesty, I don't even think that politicians should be able to live off of people. I believe that you're a public servant, you should have a regular job, and you should not be able to get rich off of your wages as a politician. That's just me. That's also, that's off somewhat off topic, but that's what I'm comparing it to, where you have some of the Cohen right here. They're trying to hold on to the offerings because remember, they depend on the offerings. So if they eat the offering, it becomes foul. And they not only does it become foul, they bear the iniquity because you didn't burn it up to God. You were, if anything, I think it just highlights your own iniquity, your selfishness. But like I said, that's just my 2 cents. The meat that touches any unclean thing is not to be eaten. We practice this today. I know some people, like, if your food touches the floor, some people won't touch it. If I know some people that won't even allow their food to touch other food on their plate. Or, if you cook food in a dirty dish or something like that, if you touch food with dirty hands, it's contaminated now. So a lot of people want to talk about laws and all this other stuff. We still practice a lot of these things today. Maybe not everything, but we still practice a lot of this. So meat that touches any unclean thing is not to be eaten. It is to be burnt up with fire. As for the meat, anyone who is clean may eat it, but the soul who eats of the meat of sacrifice of fellowship offering belongs to Adonai. Now, to me, that just sparks up more questions, because it says right here, uh at the end of verse 19, the beginning of verse 20, as for the meat, everyone who is clean may eat it. But on 20, it says, but the soul who eats of the meat of the sacrifice of fellowship offering belongs to Adonai. I think that's just an interesting verse there. I'm probably going to highlight that and see if I can study it later for better understanding. Having his uncleanness on him. Okay, let me read that again. But the soul who eats of the meat of the sacrifice of fellowship belonging to Adonai, having his uncleanness on him. That soul is to be cut off from his people. So it's just interesting that, again, they're talking about people, but they're also talking about souls. So a clean person may eat, but the soul who eats the sacrifice belonging to God, like I said, you have priests later on, they're receiving these sacrifices, but they're eating it for themselves. They're now unclean, and the soul will be cut off from his people. So meaning that they won't go into the afterlife. They won't They won't be resurrected in the second coming and all other stuff. If anyone touches any unclean thing, whether the uncleanness of man or the uncleanness of animal, or an unclean animal or any unclean detestable thing, and eats some of the meat of the sacrifice of fellowship belonging to Adonai, that soul will be cut off from his people. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Bnei Israel, saying, You are to eat no fat of a bull or sheep or goat. Now, yeah. He said, Now, this is what Moses is saying to the people. You are not to eat the fat of any bull or sheep or goat. The fat of a dead animal and the fat of a torn animal may be used. Fat of a torn animal may be used for any other service, but you must not eat it. If anyone eats the fat of an animal from which an offering is made by fire to Adonai, the soul who eats it is to be cut off from his people. You are not to eat any blood, whether it is from a bird or an animal, in any of your dwellings. Whoever is who Whoever it is who consumes any blood, that soul is to be cut off from his people. So some people, they're like, oh yeah, so that means you can't eat medium rare steak. No, that red juice from steak, that's not blood. If anything, remember, if you're practicing good slaughtering practices, you bleed out the animal first. Especially in our modern day, now that we have dry aging, that's not blood. All the blood is gone. That's just proteins. So then Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Bnei Israel, saying, whoever brings the sacrifice of fellowship offering to Adonai, it is to be present, is to present his offering to Adonai out of the sacrifice of his fellowship offering. With his own hands, he is to bring Adonai's offering by fire. He is to present the fat with the breast, so that the breast may be waved for a waved offering. So they would take it and they wave it over their head, or something. I believe so. That's what I believe. Wave it over their head. This is from what some Jewish sources that I found. Wave for a wave offering before Adonai. And the Cohen is to burn up the fat as smoke on the altar, but the breast will belong to Aaron and his sons. The right thigh you are to give to the Cohen for the contribution out of the sacrifices of your fellowship offering. The one among Aaron's sons who offers the blood of the fellowship offering and the fat is to have the right thigh for a portion. For the breast of the wave offering and the thigh contribution is to be taken from Bnei Israel out of the sacrifices of their fellowship offering, and have given them to Aaron the Cohen and to his sons as their portion forever from Bnei Israel. Oh, crap. This is the anointed portion of Aaron and the anointed portion for his sons out of the offering of Adonai made by fire. On the day when he presents them to serve Adonai in his office of the Cohen, Adonai commanded these to be given to them from Bnei Israel on the day that he anointed them. It is their portion forever throughout their generation. This is the Torah of the burnt offering, the grain offering, the sin offering, the trespass offering, the ordination offering, and the sacrifice of fellowship offering, which Adonai commanded Moses at Mount Sinai on the day he commanded Bnei Israel to present their offering to Adonai in the wilderness of Sinai. And that's it. That is it, people. So let's go ahead and see. Oops. So, avalanche tree, fine flower, yada yada yada. Holy of holies. The ritual of guilt offering is okay. Let's see how much time we got left. Offering ritual, blah 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 blah. Yeah, this is pretty much saying, it's pretty much reading everything that I read. All right, well, that's it, people. I really ain't got nothing much for you. So yeah, if you guys like what you guys heard, if you guys have any comments, if you guys have any tips, pointers, anything for me, or if you guys would like to please share this video, please subscribe, please hit the bell. Again, we're gonna try and knock these out every Friday. My goal is to get through the Bible from beginning to end. So yeah, so please share this video with anyone who you think will enjoy them, or anyone who is open into learning them, or if you just want to just listen to the Bible and yada 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 and hear me ramble on, great. But yeah, so that's really all I got for you guys. So we should be back next week with chapters 8 and 9, and hopefully we can probably crank out some more videos. So yeah, until then, I will see you guys later. Peace out.